And we are back again Sunday morning, and with the co-host Marian Dozier. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? You got a mic?
No, I don't have a microphone.
Well, we have to swing a mic over there to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Real good.
Good. We have two very fine guests. Both of them are public servants, and one is an elected official, and the other one is also serving the community as well in a very public way. So I'm going to start with my favorite city council person today. No, I'm just kidding. Right? I always say, this is my favorite council person, but they all say that. I say that to all of them. So, but Dr. Botel and I, we do have a very special relationship because most people know that we went to every church in town when you were running, right?
We did,
Doctor?
Mayor. We did.
And I got a chance to know you and see you up front, and that speech that you would always give, I would always call you Dr. Botel, and you would say, "Well, I'm not an MD, doctor, but I do have a prescription.
I have a prescription for Riviera Beach. That's right."
Tell us about the prescription. You are elected. You have been elected, and you've had a time to get that prescription out and get it ready. What's going on with you now that you are an elected official?
That's right. And I do have to say that every time I'd see that phone ring of mine and I would see Masters on the phone, I'd say, "Hello, is this my favorite mayor?" And he would say, "Yes, is this my favorite councilwoman?"
Would always say that.
Always say that. Well, Mayor, I'm happy that, about almost 455 days or more has gone by since my election, and I've been a busy woman, I must say. I'm focused on two primary areas. The first one is workforce development. You know, when I ran, I learned that the rate of income in Riviera Beach is so low, it's lower than a third of most of Palm Beach County, which is a travesty. And so my job, I feel, is to try to get jobs for people in Riviera Beach, and not just jobs, but get them the skills that it takes to have a career in something. And when I was running, and I think you probably heard me say this on occasion, I'd say, "Oh, that city council, they did away with the Maritime Academy. I'm going to fix that when I get elected."
Yeah,
and people said, "Julie, it's already over in Inlet Grove. Don't be stupid." So I went to Inlet Grove, and I got to know those folks, and they are wonderful. Emma Banks has a great team over there. And then I went to Rybovich and Viking, and I said, you tell me the jobs that you've got and the descriptions of those jobs, and I'll take that information to the college, Palm Beach State College, worked with us in the beginning, and to Inlet Grove, and I'll ask them to create a curriculum to support those jobs. So that's what we've done, and I'm very happy to say that Palm Beach State College has rolled out a marine tech curriculum now, a certification in marine technology, and I couldn't be happier about that. It's really exciting. And Inlet Grove continues to grow their program. We've been giving them a lot of help and support, and I'm pleased to do that. So now not only do we have the marine strand, we've got a total of 8 industry clusters, if you will. I've got construction, retail, banking, automotive, healthcare, tourism, marine, and logistics. And folks like Rick Morrell, who's the CEO of Tropical Shipping, they ship, and I'll say this to the guest on the right here, they ship $8 billion a year from the port in Riviera Beach to the Caribbean, which I think is pretty amazing. And he's heading the logistics strand for us because, boy, if anybody knows logistics, it's Rick Morrell. I've got Donna Caton Bahansky, the head of the VA hospital. That's the largest employer in Riviera Beach. She's heading our medical strand. So we're making progress in all those areas. The most progress we've made so far is with the marine industry because we started first with them. But I'll tell you a quick story about the medical. Most of our kids go to Palm Beach Gardens High School. You know, we don't have a comprehensive high school in Riviera Beach. We've got Suncoast, which is great, but I'm guessing certainly less than 10% of Riviera Beach kids go there. Right. And we've got Inlet Grove. Exactly. And we've got Inlet Grove, which is a vocational school, as we know, but they don't have that many of our kids there either. So most of our kids go to Palm Beach Gardens, about 70% of our kids. So my colleague and I, Alan Schultz, who's the co-chair of the Workforce Development Task Force, went to visit when Larry, the former principal at Palm Beach Gardens, when he was there. He told us about the 2 types of medical programs they have there. They have a medical academy and a medical magnet. And the kids who are in the medical magnet, they take all these AP biology, AP everything, and they do their clinicals at Palm Beach Gardens Hospital. But the kids who are in the academy, they couldn't do their clinicals there. The hospital didn't have enough room for them. So they were going to nursing homes, and, it wasn't the same kind of caliber of clinical. So we went to Donna Kate and Behensky at the VA, and we said, how would you think about letting the kids from Palm Beach Gardens do their clinicals at the VA hospital? Well, she's on board. We got it done.
That's his history.
And I mean, that's just really exciting to me.
As you were speaking, what came in my mind, I said, well, I guess the reason why I feel so close to you, Dr. Patel, is because my mother was a doctor, a PhD. And, I talk to you probably once a day or every other day. So you're the only doctor that I really know, the PhD that I talk to. And my mother went to school at 64 years of age and got her master's. And then she stayed in a few years later and got her PhD in, I think, sociology and education. And so when I see you and I see Mom and that PhD, she said to me, Tommy, you got to get your master's. I said, Mother, listen, I don't need to get my master's. I have the name master's. So I'm okay.
You're okay.
But one of the things I do want to thank you for is that when I was in office there, you worked hand in hand with Kashaman, and you both worked hand in hand with me with the job fairs.
Yes.
And you have pledged to continue to have them. And I'm very thankful because it's not about any of us. It's about those young people. It's about veterans. It's about seniors. It's about the unemployed and others, the disabled community. Takesha, I hear you saying, Mr. Mayor, talk more about the disabled community that need jobs. So you're planning to have one soon in the month of July.
Yes.
I think the first or second week in July. And I'm going to do all I can to partner with you.
Yes.
And turn over the list of employers that we've worked with down through the years.
That's great.
That your office can invite them. But, some programs, it's just a wonderful thing to see the elected officials who are in there now wanting to carry on some of the things that we started in the master's administration, actually I started job fairs before I became the mayor. And then we had the family and friends night, and people are still asking about that. Yeah. But, what can I do? I mean, someone has to make it happen. Make it happen. It just have to happen. Just won't happen until.
Well, it's important to do that.
But you're doing it for us, and I appreciate the fact that you just took the ball and says, "I'm going to do this."
Yes.
Because I know you were very passionate about jobs and with the workforce development, and it's a natural that it would fall in your hands.
Thank you, Mayor. And one other thing we're going to be doing is not only have job fairs, but also educate the community about the opportunities for training.
Yeah,
North Tech is a wonderful establishment. They've got carpentry, HVAC, welding, all kinds of opportunities for people to learn a trade. And I think that not that many people realize that it's right in Riviera Beach. Right. So at the end of
welding too?
Yes, welding in August, and I'll get the dates out on my Facebook page.
It's free.
It's free.
Please
Exactly. It's free. And we'll be having a dinner meeting where we'll invite people from the community to come in and learn about the opportunities that we have here right in Riviera Beach to get a trade, to have a good career. Right. So I keep working on that.
Absolutely. Well, you can depend on me. If you need me, just give me a call.
Thank you,
Mayor.
You
probably have my number on speed dial.
I do, Mayor.
Because I have yours. Definitely. I don't know how many times I probably have wakened you and your husband up in the morning. Oh, there's nobody but that mayor calling again. But I've got 7 minutes, and one of the questions that I'm sure that everybody wants to know in Riviera Beach is computers. When are the computers going to be back up? When Chervita goes back to the Bahamas, she can send a computer to the city.
I am happy to tell you, happy to tell you that we have our emails back, and in my office we have the internet back. So let me tell you the new protocol for reaching people in the city. It is typically the first initial, in my case J, the last name, in my case Botel, and then it's at rivierabeach.org with the vowels in beach. I used to joke before that they couldn't afford the vowels in BCH, but it's the whole Riviera Beach spelled out.
Oh, we finally have it.
We have it. .org, not .com. So mine is jbotel at Riviera Beach spelled out .org. And that would be the case for everybody.
You don't have to do .com, just do .org.
No. Just wait. Well, I don't make those decisions. We could. I don't.
Very,
Not
very
not with
good to speak
council.
about.
Not with council.
Marian was
So-
asking why not Gov, but
Yeah,
it wasn't your decision.
It wasn't my decision. It didn't come before council. It was one of those things that happened overnight. I have to commend the IT staff in the city.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's wonderful.
they worked tirelessly to get this thing back up and running. And our fear, of course, as council, was that there would be life-threatening situations where the police or fire. But apparently, that never really was the case because of some way that they had to get the information to the police and fire. Now, it happened that they would have to write information down rather than have it go into a computer. But they managed, and they didn't. They didn't. Yeah, no, they were okay. So we made it
Now,
through that.
the next
They're
thing I want to
okay.
ask you, not cutting you off, but everyone's talking about, and they're very excited about the new townhouses or condominiums that's going to be on Broadway.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Okay.
It's getting ready to happen.
You remember it used to be an old trailer park on the west side of Broadway.
Botel.
It's going to be 89 homes. They will be in 4, 5, 6, and 7 unit structures. They'll all have garages. The ones on the end will have 2 parking spots in the driveway. It will have a bit of an from the north where Avenue E comes down. They're gonna leave that part of Avenue E available so that when the trailer park on the south of it is redeveloped, Avenue E can be extended again back through those
How
properties.
long has this been up in the making?
Oh,
About
I
the new
think
development?
a couple of years now, because I remember when I was campaigning, hearing about the fact that Horton was trying to, and Horton is the developer. Horton was trying to get something going on over there. So
One time
it's
they
been a
wanted
little while.
a citizen thing, and they wanted to get tax credits, and I think that fell through. And
Yeah.
there's
The
no
nice
tax
thing
credits for
about
this one.
these is that they're market rate. So we're going to be bringing in market rate homes into the community, starting in the mid 200s. So they'll be available for people like teachers and firefighters and policemen, because sometimes they can get assistance as well. So
what do you say to people who say, why are they putting condominiums or townhouses on Broadway, which is the city gateway? Why not businesses? Why not
because I think they're
grocery
looking to
stores?
have it be a mixed-use environment, so that when you're living in those places, millennials like to walk, and I think the hope is that restaurants will come and people
So
who
this
are
is gonna be
living
like a
there
kicker
will
or
be.
something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's wonderful. I'm really excited about it. And I know it from the descriptions we got at the board meeting the other night. It looks like they're going to be very lovely homes.
And also, do you have an update as it relates to Brightline or either the regular train coming to Riviera Beach? Because there was some discussion about the train, what's it called? The Tri-Rail.
Yes.
Coming to the 13th and President Barack Obama Highway.
I don't have any updates on that.
Okay. What about the new warehouse? There's going to be a new warehouse on 13th and President Barack Obama. Tell us about that.
Well,
and
there
then we'll
was
wrap
some
up.
concern about that because people felt that we should dedicate that property to some recreational use for kids. But at the moment, that property can be used to store barrels, and it's definitely an industrial zoned property. So it's either create a nice looking new warehouse there or allow the current owner to store stuff there that's not so beautiful to look at. So it really puts you between a rock and a hard place when you're trying to make a decision to allow something like this. Sure, we'd like to have a bowling alley. Sure, we'd like to have a movie theater, but this particular piece of property is zoned so that the current owner, if he were to keep it and not sell it to these people who want to make it a warehouse, would be able to use it for purposes that would not be lovely in any case. So I think it's a better course of action to allow someone to put a warehouse there that has the potential to give jobs to people.
And as we get ready to transition to our next guest, I think a good question would be, are there any updates with the port? Anything going on with the Port of Palm Beach as relates to the city, relates to jobs? I know we got 2 cruise ships now.
Yes, we have 2 cruise ships. They do 500,000 cruisers a year in and out of that port, and it's wonderful. We are continuing to work on our relationship with the port. I think it's an improving relationship, and we want to continue. But yeah, of course, great Joe Anderson is there, so we know
and
they've got
Dr.
some.
Enright.
Dr.
Do you
Enright.
hear me? Do you hear me?
Yeah, I know. She's lovely.
And that boat goes from Riviera Beach to Freeport, Bahamas.
What a good transition, Mayor.
Right? And now we're going to Freeport, Bahamas. We're not going on the boat. We're just going right across the desk to the illustrious, so qualified, justified, none like her in America. My co-hostess, Marian Dozier.
And I thought he was talking about you.
Oh, Marian. We love Marian. She's the great person.
And thank you, Mayor Masters, and thank you.
You have to say good
Council-
morning. No one can say it like
going
you. I'm waiting to hear that.
Okay. If you had waited a couple seconds, you would have heard it.
Okay.
But Councilwoman Botel, thank you for coming on to the show too. And yes, as I always say, everyone, good morning. Thank you for tuning in to South Florida Sunday this morning with me, Marian Dozier, and of course, Mayor Masters. Today's second guest is also a public servant, and she also has worked across similar platforms. She's worked in education, she's worked in business. One difference, though, Chervita Campbell is Bahamian. She has an accent, and she doesn't live here, but she is our sister. And that's because in 2012, Chervita Campbell was on the Freeport City Council when it signed a sister city agreement with the city of Riviera Beach. An agreement that, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, was originally launched by our South Florida Sunday team lead, Mayor Thomas Masters. And once the city of Riviera Beach's city council agreed to the partnership, Mayor Masters invited Ms. Campbell and her colleagues from the Freeport dais to come here to sign the historic agreement back in January of 2012. It was her first visit to the city of Riviera Beach, but it has not been her last one. She's back again today because she's pitching the relaunch of that same sister city relationship, which had grown sleepy, dormant even, over time. She's also pitching that relaunch through one of her other public service platforms as the main organizer of the Grand Bahama Regatta and Homecoming, which is a sailing race that will be held in Freeport July 19th through 20th. In other words, she's combined the two, and she pitched them both again to the City of Riviera Beach City Council last week. And Councilwoman Botel was there sitting on the dais. Now, today she's going to talk about the connections between the two cities, the similarities in culture, the connections through history. She is a longtime educator and earned her bachelor's and master's degrees on this side of the Atlantic at Kent State in Ohio and at Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach. Yay! And those hand claps are important because her mother also went to BCU, which was, I guess, BCC at that time. And then her daughter went to BCU as well.
It's in her DNA. It's in her DNA.
Yeah, and my brother. Oh, your brother too? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Wow, perfect. Love it. Okay, so this education background has also seen her create a week-long summer camp at the Regatta. That sailing, boats, water, huge parts of the Bahamian culture and ours. Chervita Campbell, thank you for joining us on South Florida Sunday.
Good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Masters and Councilwoman Botel, to be on the show. It is a pleasure to be in Riviera Beach, the city of Riviera.
Yes, or as I like to say, in the hood.
Like I said, I am a Riverian. Okay?
Are you?
Yes.
Because
of our sister city relationship.
Yes.
I'm a Riverian. And you are a Grand Bahamian.
Yes. Okay?
Because of the sister city relationship.
Yes. I love that.
Yes.
Did you know, Councilwoman Botel, that you potentially could be a Bahamian?
A Bahamian.
Yeah. If you go, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, because that's part of her pitch. Is that to get our city council to come over to Freeport,
yes,
to relaunch what the mayor started,
yes,
in 2012.
Yes, and thank you so much, Mayor Masters. We've been able to discover that we have massive similarities. I have been able to discover that my family members live off of 45th.
Really?
You could see the ship. Yes, the Clarks. And they would have come here years ago. Through a plantation,
Plantation?
Well, I say plantation, but actually they came to work on a project, and that's how they stayed on this side of the Atlantic.
And in fact, as we all know, when Riviera Beach was founded in 1922, many of the residents at that time were Bahamians.
Yes.
Because we had, Riviera Beach had this huge fishing industry. But one thing I'm curious, when you came in 2012, did you see similarities, immediately between the two cities?
When I saw the setup and the makeup, the population size is similar. And then I was able to also realize that our culture was here a bit.
Yeah.
You could have seen the culture through the expression. when we attended functions, and the similarity with foods as well. You know, of course, eating the peas, the rice. Y'all might call it bean and rice, peas and rice.
Yes.
We call it peas and rice.
Oh,
Of course,
that's right, the conch. Yeah.
You know, and how it would be prepared. The macaroni and cheese, how it would be prepared. We prepared a little different, but still, nonetheless, we use those kind of areas. But, of course, July 19th and 20th, we have the Grand Bahama Regatta and Homecoming, which will be in the city of Freeport on the island of Grand Bahama. This year, we'll be in Smith's Point, which is right next door to Tino Beach.
And then you told me something kind of interesting about Smith's Point. You said that there was a connection between a property owner in that beachy area.
And it's come to my attention, I'm still getting some more information regarding to that, is there's a church, an Anglican church, and the property is owned by a person from Riviera Beach.
Really?
Yes, and he would have sold it to the Anglican diocese, and he was an Eden. So if there are any Edens within the city of Riviera Beach or descendants of the Edens, you are
Eden?
a Bahamian. Yes.
Spell it.
Edden.
Eden. Oh, like Eden.
Like Eden.
Eden.
With
Eden.
So you are descendants. And that is
Interesting.
why the relaunch at this point is a good initiative for for the residents to actually come back, visit the island, and then also find the connection of some family history. To find, you know, exactly your descendants and the Bahamian culture that innates deep within you. And of course, during that time, the event is free. So it's a sailing event. It's a sloop sailing event, which is indigenous to the Bahamians.
What is that? What is sloop?
What is sloop? Sloop
Sloop
is
sailing.
it's
Y'all should
built
see.
out of wood.
The boat.
The boat, and they are Bahamian built. So they are not built anywhere else, but they are built within the Bahamas. So we have some boat builders within the Bahamas, and they build a sloop, and they build it out of wood. And they cure it, they paint it, and they prepare it, and the sailing is based on wind. There are no motors.
Oh.
So it goes with the wind. So they have to catch the wind to be able to go around the buoys and know how to tack, starboard, and port.
So most of the boats that are going to be sailing in the regatta are going to be sloops?
Right. All of them
Really?
are sloops throughout the
I didn't
Bahamas.
know.
There's sloop sailing.
So was that true before? Like I came that first year when Stalit performed?
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
So those were sloops?
Those are sloops. All sloop
I guess
sails.
I didn't know because I had too many beers.
all are sloops.
But tell us what what are the plans right now in terms of the sister city relationship and the regatta? What are you kind of thinking of? What
We
are you
are
pitching?
thinking of having a meet and greet, which will bring like minds together that are politicians, the business owners, the residents, and so forth, to have a meet and greet. So they'll be able to identify and more or less understand what sister city relationship truly means. It gives it the more broader knowledge base, after which we're looking for something on a Saturday morning where we'll have sessions. Persons now the political leadership as well as the business owners and those of the influence within the makeup of the island, and particularly the city of Freeport, can now dialogue and flesh out what has been the cause or the issues why we have not been able to massively benefit both cities of the sister city relationship. And hopefully we can walk away with something tangible in hand, a working document in hand, that we know now moving forward, we are able now to see the economic trade more beneficial. We have the celebration that docks in the city of Riviera
That's
Beach
right.
and docks within the city of Freeport port.
Which is amazing.
So we need to now see how is it that we can now get that good initiative going.
And so was there ever, I was going to ask you, Mr. Mayor, in terms of the relationship that had existed before, did y'all ever get to formalize it, or what did you kind of focus on more?
I think Chervita came when we, it was Billy Brooks really that insisted that we do a proclamation proclaiming the sister city relationship, and Billy Brooks actually went with me to one of the schools to the Bahamas. But we've had several different interactions with Freeport since we established that. We've had several with the churches, several with the. I met with the Dr. Dobble. Yeah, he was the head of something.
Head of Ministry of Grand Bahama.
Right. And we met with the tourism and several of the businesses, several of the clergy. As a matter of fact, the last time I think you read it, Mary. We were looking at the document. Was in 2017. We had a group to come over from the one of the schools next door to a church over there. I forget the name of it, but
Walter Parker, probably.
No, it wasn't Walter
Freeport
Parker.
Primary?
That one, yes.
Okay.
And they brought teachers, they brought parents, they brought choir, they brought sports people. They had the soccer games. They had all kinds of things going on. The basketball game. They did a concert. We had a meeting. They visited some of our schools. So there's been a lot of interaction that's been going on for several years since the sister city was established. I think what has happened on both sides of the water is that we've changed city council 2 or 3 times. And whenever you change councils, you know, the new council doesn't go forward what the old council was doing. But I'm very pleased that this new council and this new mayor is going to go forward what was established several years ago. And you have a new council as well, and a new city guy. They don't call him mayor; they call him something.
Chief Councillor.
And they're determined to go forward. All new people, and that's great.
Well,
Thank you, Marian.
And I think too that you've got a plan this time to certify the thing,
Right. Yes.
which would probably help formalize it and keep the thing going as you get these new, elected officials in.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something we're looking at, is to, make sure that it's registered with Sister Cities International, so that whenever there are change and transition, there'll not be a change in the relationship and understanding.
Continue. Right. Yeah.
So it will continue, will not depend on any person, body, or anything, but the organization itself will be able to now still mend and say, okay, this is what has been in place, and let's continue. So the council, both
Let's
sides,
build on this
we'll
foundation.
continue to build on it.
Yeah.
But
So what do you think about the idea of this, Councilwoman Botel?
I love it. I especially am thrilled with the thought of the regatta, because we're actually planning a regatta. We're calling it the South Florida Regatta and Sailing Festival for May 2nd and 3rd.
Where is that going to be?
Out of the marina. Out of the marina.
Riviera
Yeah,
Beach?
Riviera Beach. Of course. Would I be planning it for any other city?
Good point, Miss Lady.
So I'm very excited about that. And as you were talking about the sloops, I'm thinking, I wonder if there's some way to incorporate some of the sloops into this regatta somehow. So we'll need to talk more about that,
Definitely. And that could be another part of the exchange.
Yeah,
Because we have an E-class sloop. So for our regatta this year, we are inviting 10 C-class sloops. Regatta tends to have A, B, and C class, and they've introduced the E class,
Which are smaller, bigger?
which are smaller. The E
okay.
class now more or less caters to the young and the
Yes.
upcoming. So we're trying to focus on building sloop sailing from the from the children level, so they'll become adult sailors.
And so is that part of the reason why y'all are doing that summer camp too, or no?
And the summer camp, what we have done, we've partnered with Gumbe Land. That is a entertainment for teenagers and adults and teenagers at heart.
Okay.
And it's a go-kart and it's a skating rink.
I used to love go-karts.
And they
Getting one now, though.
what they have done with us is that we have partnered with them, and so 1 week they have devoted to being a regatta sailing week. So they will be making sloops out of cardboards and see whose sloop can test the time of being in the water.
I mean, it would be a great tie-in to the kids at Inlet Grove who are studying the marine industry. They make little wood boats just to, they do a lot of woodworking there, because you can't make a ship unless you know how to do carpentry, because even if it's fiberglass, it's got to be, you got to have a wood frame. You got to have, so that would be really an interesting tie-in, might be the kids at Inlet Grove and the work that they're doing to study how ships are made and so on.
And what's interesting on that note too is I remember, like, before Mayor Felder got in office, one of the things that he used to talk about when he was at J Ministries was trying to bring the kids who are on the west side over to the water on the east side.
Exactly.
And I think that's part of the reason why the CRA partnered with that Florida Fishing Academy, because our kids, they live less than a mile away from the water, but they never go over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mind you, and that's a similarity for us, because you would think that we are surrounded by water, that our mass population can swim. But we don't have a mass population that can truly swim, So it is something that every summer we have summer camps on the island, and swimming is always incorporated into most summer camps.
Yeah.
So even with us this year, partnering with Gumbe Land, they're going to bring the students out, and they'll bring them on to Smith's Point, and they'll be able to now have a regatta summer camp.
It's great.
And of course we have an E-class sloop. The E-class sloop will cater to the kids, and the C-class sloops will cater to the adults sailing.
Also, when people come to Riviera to Freeport, they get 40% discount. We set that up years ago at the Pelican Bay. 40%.
Now it's 34%.
It's yes, but yes, and we also have another one that's joined is the Grand Lucaine. The Grand Lucaine is offering right across the street. Yes, and they're offering up to about 50% of discount on the room rates.
Okay.
So
and that's what I was just going to ask you before we close out is if someone who is listening wants to come, there are some discount travel packages available.
Yes.
Okay. And then how can they get information?
Well, they can go to cocowire.net and they can get information with regards, because we have a link and we are keeping the partnership consistent and active and going. So they can go to cocowire.net and they'll be able to pick up information, as well as we have a Facebook page, Grand Bahama Regatta. But we prefer that they go through Cocoa Wire because they'll be able to get the on time. It's relevant to them, while the Facebook will be more general. So more updates will be.
Or they can find Chervita.
So I want you to know that you can catch the celebration from your city, come over to the island for that 19th and the 20th of July. You can stay at Pelican Bay or the Grand Lucaine. You can enjoy the free beach access.
And it's a beautiful beach.
You can watch the boat racing. You can watch the entertainment that we are looking to provide for you, which will be the police pop band. We are looking at possibly bringing in Stalit. We have Veronica Bishop. We have some Cat Island dancers. We also even have some fire dancing and limbo going for you. So you really want to come over, and you'll be able to walk the community of Smith's Point. Okay, and so
which is right on the beach.
They have a beautiful seawall that's been recently built, and so you will be able to just lounge off, bring your towel, and just lounge off and bask in the sun.
And look at Stalit. Do you know Stalit? Are you familiar with him? Because he performed at the Goombay Splash at Callaway Amphitheater last year. He is like the king of rake and scrape, which is the Bahamian music. Yeah. Oh my God! And of course, I love his voice, Marian. He's got like this big voice. I met him through her because he was the performer at the first one. Yes.
And of course, when you come to the island and you come to the Bahamas, you have the Kulik bear that you can possibly taste, or the sand spear that are Bahamian made. You have the conch salad, the conch fritter, the crack conch, the fried fish.
Everything. And it's just like 30 minutes away by plane. That's the thing that I love. I mean, it's a completely different culture, but there's so many similarities between the demographics, the geography, the fact that both have ports, both have marinas. I mean,
have you been to the Tiki Market at the marina events at the marina? The Riviera Beach Marina? You should go over there. It's on Sunday.
Is it? It might be
Sunday.
Over for the.
I'm not sure. I think it's still going on, but we try to do as much Caribbean stuff as we can.
Yes, because it is a foundation of who we are.
That's right.
But Mary Masters is tapping me on the shoulder, and it's time for me to say thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Chervita Campbell.
Thank you so much.
Chervita.
Thank you, the council lady. Thank you, Mayor Masters, and thank you, Marian.
And thank you, Councilwoman Botel. I think you're
Marian.
the first councilwoman from Riviera Beach that's come into this room.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation, Mayor.
Thanks for the updates.
Marian. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and Hobo from the station is tapping me on my shoulder and saying the time has come for me to say the best is yet to come. See you next week.